Good evening, YouTube family. Hope everyone is well. Well, we're back on air, and it's time to have a chat about mental health and about different subjects, feelings, thoughts, emotions, and topics about what it's like. And we'll start with different types of perceptions and questions. Um, and if you have any, just write them below. Otherwise, yeah, we'll kick off from here. And I hope everyone's got their popcorn, cup of tea, and a cup of coffee. So yeah, I'll give it to Cairo.
So the first question is, how do you think people perceive mental health in general?
I think people who are very wrapped up in the sense of they're more violent than the more um, population of people is a misconception, because mentally ill people are more subject to violence than they are to committing the violence, which is actually a statistical fact. And yeah, I think we've made progress over the years about it in a positive manner, but I think governments and bodies of movements and rights need to do a lot more to where we came from. So yeah.
So how do you feel about having a mental illness, and how do you think that affects your life?
Well, I think having a mental illness, it doesn't define me. Um, but what it does do is it's given me a new perception on life. Um, it's helped me become more aware and more enlightened about different issues of life. It helped me to not be so narrow-minded, because this illness can strike anyone, and it is very fortunate that I hold on to my faith, and it's helped me through with medication, therapy, counselling, support groups, rehab, hospitals, prison cells, and things like that. So yeah, it's been really difficult, but at the end of the road, there's always a rainbow. And yeah, it's the rainbow in the sky, not the other rainbow. Yeah.
So how would you describe your day-to-day life dealing with mental illness?
Yeah, so one of the things I do very religiously is I've learned to take my medication. That's one of the cornerstones of getting well, and accepting that I have an illness. I accept that now. It's taken me nearly over 10 years to accept it. Um, I wasn't treated very fairly during the time I was admitted into institutions and asylums, but it has helped me become the compassionate and empathetic person I am today, that I have towards the mentally ill. And like the Bible says, God is no respecter of person. So yeah, we must work in harmony together, whether we're black, white or yellow, to move forward. And yeah, having a mental illness is just another challenge and trial that all who are diagnosed or know a loved one who has it has to endure, and that can be with love, respect and compassion.
So how is how would you describe your illness compared to other mental illnesses?
Yeah, it's a very good question, that one. So there's different spectrums and types of illnesses from the book of psychiatry. Um, some are less um, symptoms and negative symptoms and positive symptoms than others. My diagnosis was bipolar, and then it transmitted to schizoaffective disorder, and then it's one of the hardest illnesses out of all to diagnose, quite frankly. That's because of the borderline of the mood and the disorder itself. So it's very hard for a doctor to diagnose someone with schizoaffective. It's like kind of like taking a chance on whether or not the patient really has it or not. But over the years that go by, it tends to fold out, and the behavior of the person starts to manifest, and the medications are just like a band-aid. There's no cure. Um, so that was the difference between mine and other diagnoses such as depression and anxiety, which is quite common. Excuse me, but schizoaffective disorder only um, is 1% of the population. So yeah, it's quite small.
So, how would you describe your mood during the day and how that changes?
Yeah, the moods can be up and down at any various time. Like you might go to the shop, sunny day, get your groceries, then it starts raining, your mood changes, you get home, the cat's hot, you feel for the cat, um, someone might knock on your door, wake you up, that may change. You go to work, you can't function because of the intrusive thoughts. You go to school, you try to study, but your mind can't cope with the study because of the trauma and the neurotransmitters that are firing in your brain that can't stop, and only medication can slow that down. And yeah, it's not just an invisible illness, but it's also a physical illness. With a broken leg, you can see it, but with mental health, it's invisible. So there's a lot of stigma, and with that kind of mood being very low at times, can be a very dark place. But with experience, you learn how to cope without curing it, but you learn to live with it, just like it's a black dog.
So, since mental health is invisible, how do you? What are some things that people can do to make it more visible?
I think education is the key to that. I think educating your loved ones, family therapy, having Bible study, reading the Word of God, getting the spiritual side right to help heal the heart, because Jesus said he's close to the brokenhearted, and those who call upon him shall be saved. Family therapy, church services, movie night, gentle exercise, getting a pet, playing an instrument, doing arts and craft, painting, woodwork, voluntary work, creating a craft that you like to do or you were passionate about before the illness hit you. And yeah, these are some of the ways to answer this question.
So, what are some things that helped you deal with mental illness, and what are some things that other people can do as well?
Yeah, so a few things that help me deal with mental illness is music. Music helps stop the voices. Um, the voices can be negative or positive. They're constantly at you, like constantly. That's why your sleep is disrupted, and it's like good thoughts, good voices, bad voices, um, and it's not like an auditory voice. It's like a constant battle between good and evil, and as you can see, um, we did not choose this illness. It's nobody's fault, although there are some things to improve on, just like gentle exercise, going out for coffee, having a chat, um, playing video games, watching TV, having a nice bath, um, having a special friend you can trust to tell them your problems, and just living life freely and giving to those who are close to you with everything you have and everything you own. Share it, because you can't take it with you.
What are some things that people might not normally think about when it comes to dealing with a mental disorder?
I think people just take the person as they see them. They don't really see behind the scenes of how much they have struggled or are struggling or are going to struggle. And one small incident in life can disrupt the whole course of that person's destiny. Although God is in charge of every man's destiny, there's also a chance of redemption. And that's why Jesus paid the sacrifice, because anyone with a mental health disorder is judged equally, should be respected, and can also become a productive member of society, just like an everyday worker, with medication, therapy, staying away from drugs, alcohol, and different lifestyle choices. There is a way, although you can have those things in moderation, it can really affect your medication, as it has done to me in the past. And I'll put my hand up first to say that. But I'm willing to help others who are in the same situation as me, because I know what it's like to live in a padded room for 10 years.
So, you mentioned that you could have a trigger that starts this whole process. What kind of trigger causes something like this? And if you want to share, what was your trigger?
That's a very good question too, because usually psychotic episodes do not happen overnight. It's actually a build-up to that event. The person may come from a broken family. They might have been abused as a child. They might have been neglected, abandoned, adopted, or even just left out of family occasions due to the way they behave or the way they look or where their birthright is, you know. So all that can contribute to having a trigger later on in life. And it's usually the mentally gifted people that have these psychotic breaks because their mind is different to the way that a normal person mind acts. That's why very famous people and actors, movie stars, sports stars, and your next door neighbor or your friends or your family can have a mental illness even without being diagnosed. My mental illness was probably started off as a child from a single mother. I love my parents very much, and that really hurt me to go from house to house every weekend just to see the people I love when I could have saw them 7 days a week. But that's not my fault. I've learned to understand that grown-ups and individuals have their own lives to be responsible for, and I've taken accountability of my actions and my decisions. And when it's time to move forward, you move forward. Also being delegated from the World Cup squad in the Fijian team to Wales was a big blow to my mental health sanity, and also not going to Japan for another World Cup was very mind-boggling experience, especially when you know you have performed to the best of your ability and you just wiped clean out of the squad. And that hurt me so much because I never thought that people play favourites, but unfortunately there's politics everywhere, and I was the one to cop it. So even though there was reasons why these things happen, we will know when we get to heaven. But for now, we must endure the race, move forward, eyes on the prize, into eternal glory. And that's the only way that you can enter heaven, is through Jesus. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of how mental health illness affects those you love. And always reach out to someone who has a mental illness, because they are not really the person they used to be, but they still have the memories of you kept in their heart. So thank you very much, Cairo, and this is a great video. Thank you, good night, and God bless.